All right, today we're going to deconstruct something really interesting. It's a 6th grade math lesson that does something you probably haven't seen before. It takes basic statistics and teaches it not just as, a way to crunch numbers, but as a way of looking at the world through a very specific theological lens. So yeah, let's dive right in.
And that brings us to the big question, right? The one that kind of makes you stop and think. What in the world do church fundraisers have to do with statistical analysis? I mean, on the surface, they seem like they're from completely different planets. But as you're about to see, this lesson plan weaves them together on purpose to make a point that's much bigger than just the math.
Okay, so first up, the lesson jumps right into a core concept from statistics, something you've definitely seen if you've ever taken a math class: how to find the center of a bunch of data.
And the tool they use for this? The median. It's super simple, really. You just line up all your numbers from smallest to biggest, and the one smack dab in the middle, that's your median. It's a really clean way to get a feel for the data's central point.
And here, they give us a great example using Sunday school test scores. Once you put them in order, you can see that 91 is sitting right there in the middle. You've got 3 scores below it, 3 scores above it. Boom! That's your center. Simple, clear, easy to grasp.
But, knowing the middle of the data, that's only half the battle, right? To really understand what's going on, you got to know how spread out everything is. And that takes us to the second key idea in the lesson. So, to figure that out, the lesson brings in the idea of range. And again, it's a super straightforward concept. All you do is find the biggest number and the smallest number in your set, and then just find the difference between them.
So let's go back to those test scores. The math is super easy. The highest score was a 99, the lowest was an 85. Subtract one from the other and you get a range of 14. That one little number gives you a quick snapshot of just how much the scores varied.
All right, so we've got our center, we've got our spread. The third piece of this statistical puzzle, according to this lesson, is all about the data's shape.
And they zero in on one particular shape, a symmetrical distribution. Just think of it like a perfect mirror image. If you drew a line down the center, the data on one side would look just like the data on the other. It's all balanced.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Check this out. Every single example in this lesson, test scores, weekly temperatures, fundraiser sales, you name it, they're all presented as perfectly symmetrical. Now it's not a coincidence. It's clearly a choice to keep things simple and to really drill that pattern home.
Okay, center, spread, shape. So far, this is all pretty standard, right? You'd find this in any math textbook. But this is where the lesson takes a hard turn from just doing math to giving that math a much deeper philosophical meaning.
Just look at this table from the lesson. It lays it all out, nice and neat. You've got the data sets, you've got the numbers, the median, the range. But look at that last column, interpretation. This is the key. The lesson is pushing past just the calculation and into telling a story. The numbers aren't just numbers anymore. They have meaning. The scores are close to 90. The temperatures gradually increase. Sales show consistent growth.
And this is the big reveal, the whole point. The source just comes right out and says it. They call it the big idea. The goal here isn't just to teach you stats. It's to show you how analyzing data can help you make wise decisions. And it connects that process directly to how, in its worldview, people in the Bible interpreted the world around them.
And to really hammer that point home, to lock it all in place, the lesson ends with this Bible verse. By sticking Philippians 4:13 at the end, the whole exercise of learning statistics gets framed inside this theological idea of being strengthened and enabled by a higher power. So now, doing math isn't just doing math. It's practically an act of faith.
So let's step back for a second. We've pulled this whole lesson apart. What have we found? For me, it really all boils down to one powerful idea: framing.
Think about what this lesson is actually doing. Yeah, it's teaching the basics, median, range, and symmetrical shapes, absolutely. But it doesn't just leave it there, does it? It wraps these mathematical tools in a very specific worldview. It tells students that these are tools for making wise decisions. And it actually connects the patterns you find in numbers to something it calls patterns of God's grace. The how of the math gets completely fused with a very specific why.
And that really leaves us with a big question to chew on, doesn't it? This lesson is the perfect example. It shows that the context we learn something in, the stories, the values, the ultimate purpose we're given, it does more than just add a little flavor. It fundamentally changes what we understand that information to even mean. It's a powerful reminder to always ask not just what we're learning,
but how we're being taught to see it. Something to think about. Thanks for digging into this with me.